Hi there, and welcome back to the Count to 10 podcast. My name is Simon Sanborn, and I am a behavior teacher, and I started this podcast to see if I could give something back a little bit for people to understand behaviors better, whether it is students, your own children, or it's adults. Communication, I feel, is one of the things that's lacking when it comes to our society these days. So I thought I would start this podcast to see if I could share some ideas to help with kids. Obviously, that's kind of my specialty, but also to see about how we all start getting along better. What can we do to make these connections so that we can communicate better, get the things we need, get the help we need, and be able to kind of move forward together as a society in a really good, positive way. So I thought what I'd share with you today is, like I said, I'm big on communication, and this book by Adele Faber and Elaine Malish, 5 million copies sold, How to Talk So Kids Will Listen, and Listen So Kids Will Talk. I found this along with a lot of the other books that were promoted for Mr. Siegel, that is an author and a child psychologist, and these are some books that were recommended by him. So what I like about these books is it has great, simple ideas to try. Because, though I think Daniel Siegel is an incredible guy and an incredible therapist and a brilliant kind of has an understanding of how the brain works, especially in children. They and the people that wrote this book have this ability to be open and transparent of saying, these aren't going to be a solve-all. These aren't going to take care of all your problems. These are ideas, these are tools, these are opportunities for you to maybe even change your thinking about how you see behaviors, and then that will help your approach. But they're not always a fix-all. But that's why I like to share these ideas. Trying new things, trying new ideas is always exciting, I think. And so I thought this was fantastic. So again, it's from How to Talk So Kids Will Listen, and Listen So Kids Will Talk. And one thing I found in here that I liked, and this is it's in chapter 2 of the book, which is, engaging cooperation. So trying to get your kids to engage, so we're not lecturing so much, we're not having to talk, let's all sit down and have a family meeting, all those kind of things. My wife and I remember those days. We were just kind of talking about when my kids would come back to stay with all of us. It went from a household of 4 to a household of 6. Became very busy. We worked very hard at blending our family successfully and making sure that our kids were getting along and everybody was getting what they needed and had enough time with each of us. So we were really intentional about that. And so that's how we got introduced to Daniel Siegel's books. But this was a really good example because our kids hated family meetings because it was usually about things that were going wrong or things that we had to fix or change. And we didn't understand this necessarily at the time, but they were under duress. They were stressful. My wife's kids were stressed, and my wife was stressed, and I was stressed because my kids were coming back into the house after a week with their mom. And my kids were stressed of having to go from one set of ideas and rules to a whole nother set of ideas and rules. So it was a lot of adjusting for all of us. But I think we did pretty good. So we got a couple graduates out of that and a couple more on the way. So I just thought I would share this with you because the family meeting was always kind of a tough one for us. But this one, actually, it's a couple ideas. But this first one was the one-word statement. So like teenagers have expressed that they appreciate not being lectured to. And if they had a sticky note stuck to their door that just said dog on it, they would know exactly what that meant. They had to make sure they walked the dog. Or a sticker that just said dishes, right? Just a simple word. It's like, instead of your mom or your dad coming in and saying, hey, do me a favor, don't blah, 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 blah. Make sure these things are done before you leave. It's just a note on your door, dishes. And you can decide right then, I'll go take care of this and get this over with. But I like that idea, just one-word statements. And I think teachers could use that too. If your students all come back from, say, PE and they see one word on your whiteboard that says, daily geography sheet. Maybe they all know they come in, they see that word, they know to get it out and start working on it. I guess it's kind of, 2 words. But you get the idea, right? It's simple. It's just like, and they should get it. They should get that. And, using these, one-word statements really does mean 1 or 2 words. It shouldn't be like, hey, students, hey, students, get out your this and this and this and do this, this, and this. Just one statement that they can see and they know what to do. Okay. Describing what you feel. I think this is really important, especially for parents. Describing what you feel. Our children have the capacity to handle your emotions. Okay. They have the ability and are capable of dealing with, people being upset and frustrated and angry. They gave some examples in here is, your kids can handle statements like this. It's good to steer clear of me for a little while. I'm feeling very irritable, and it really has nothing to do with you, right? So that not only is communicating to our kids that I'm having some struggles right now, but also I'm having struggles, but those struggles are not because of you. And sometimes, especially kids, because this is the age that they're in, up until they start hitting their teens, they are the center of their world. And so if something goes wrong, they think there's an issue with them. That's often why, divorced parents tell their kids, this has nothing to do with you. This is not your problem. We're not getting divorced because of you. We still love you. We still care about you. It's important to say that to your kids because they automatically, with their brains, go to, this is my fault. And both of my children will tell you that even with us saying that it's not your fault we're getting divorced, they still were taking it upon themselves that they were the ones that caused the problem. So it's important to say, and probably important to reaffirm, that adults make decisions, and adults, are the ones who are kind of guiding your life. And it's unfortunate sometimes, but it doesn't go the way we want it to. So I even say my oldest son, who's 28, still talks about how it would be nice if his mom and I were still married, so that he wouldn't have to go to two houses for Christmas and things like that. So it sticks around for a little while, unfortunately. The main one I liked that I thought was great, and that's probably because I'm a little sarcastic and I like to be a little silly and fun sometimes, is writing a note. And this is in chapter 2 still, but the notes were great. So here's an example. Dear Billy, I haven't been outside since this morning. Give me a break. Your dog, Harry. So again, it's kind of humorous. It's kind of sarcastic, but it's what a kid's going to get. They're going to read that and be like, I guess you could assume that your kid would be like, oh, great, Dad's writing me these goofy notes again. Or Mom's, trying to make a point. All right, I got it. It's taking away that negative interaction that can happen sometimes, or oftentimes, when you're redirecting your kids, because we now know that with all the negatives, there has to be so many positives, right? So not having that interaction that is negative, if it's in a note, has a different effect on their brain and on their thinking. And I think that's the best idea that you can kind of wrap your head around is, I don't need to punish them. They don't need to suffer because I'm upset about what they did or did not do. I need for them to understand why it is that I asked them to do this or get these things accomplished. So it's shifting your mindset as well, because it's not just about you, it's about them and how are they best going to get it. So I might feel great yelling at my kids. I get all this anger and frustration out that they've caused me, and I feel better afterwards, right? But did they get anything from that? Right? What benefited them? And if you really want to have change in someone, you want them to change their thinking and change their ideas about how you interact with them, then you have to do it differently for them, right? So discussing how things make you feel. I'm furious about this. I can't believe you left my tools outside again. I've asked you multiple times. It's showing me that you don't respect me and my tools. I take care of them. This is very frustrating. So expressing your feelings, expressing your emotions, and then following it up with something more productive, right? So to take care of this tool that you left outside that's now rusty, and that's from the book, by the way, I'm kind of paraphrasing, I need you to get some steel wool and scrub this thing down and then oil it a little bit because you left it outside, it got rusty. So that's what I need for you to do to get this tool back into the shape that I had it in. Okay, so it's not consequences, it's not punishments, it's let's find a way to fix this problem, right? And you're communicating all of that as well. I mean, how wonderful would it be to know that down the road, you know that your child, when they have kids who make mistakes, because that's what children do, that's what human beings do, they're going to approach it the same way. So I almost feel like your interactions with them is providing a legacy of how to have a discussion with somebody. It provides a legacy of how to communicate clearly with someone We're not getting mixed up in screaming and yelling. We're not getting mixed up in swearing or getting so angry and overwhelmed because you've let things pile up on you and pile up and pile up on you that your parenting can become detrimental almost. So think about your interactions with your kids as being those opportunities to help them understand how to communicate. And I think it's awesome that if you start thinking of it in, I am helping them communicate because they're going to have to do it for my grandson or my granddaughter. So what kind of legacy am I going to lead them to down the road? So short and simple today. I try to keep these videos not too crazy long. I know everybody's busy, and I really appreciate people taking the time to listen. It takes some intention to do that, and it means a lot to me. And I'm sorry that I'm wearing a red shirt again. I got some comments about the last few videos that talked about me wearing a lot of red. My school district's colors are red, black, and white. So I tend to wear a lot of black and red. I don't wear a lot of white, but that's why you might see some common color schemes. Not that it matters at all. Thank you again for those who have been reaching out for ideas and asking me questions. I haven't gotten a lot of ideas given to me to share with you yet, but I do have a lot of people asking about ideas or asking me to expand on ideas and points of view. So that's exciting. That's what I love to do. That's why I'm becoming a therapist. I like sharing ideas and giving examples of how we can communicate better, how we can get along better, and how to understand the behaviors that we see back and forth, good and bad. It's not necessarily always a bad behavior. It's about just how someone's responding to how you're interacting with them, and can you be more conscious of how you're interacting with them to see the behaviors that you want to see. So it sounds simple, I know. I don't do it all the time either, so I'm as flawed as anybody else. But we're all a work of progress, and I'm proud to do this podcast, and I'm proud to be a teacher and interact with my students every day and the adults that I work with. It's a real wonderful opportunity that the universe has given me. So I'm very grateful about that every day. Thanks again for your time. If you have any questions, you have any concerns, you have any ideas, things you want to pass on, Simon, SYMON, Sanborn, SANBORN, @gmail.com. Just email me. Keep it positive, keep it constructive. I'm always down to make things better. So let me know if you have any questions, and I'll be happy to answer them for you. Have a great night. Thank you for your time. Take care of each other, and take care of yourself.